Welcome to episode 20 of Drew's Baseball Crew. You might be wondering, where are the first 19 episodes? They, in fact, happened last season. Myself, Drew Skyber, here back for season 2 of the Baseball Crew, ready to build those winning lineups again. We had some big winners last year, ready to, continue on to that. And I got more stats this year, more advanced info, and a lot of great stuff. Again, thank you now this year to Ballpark Pal as well. They actually go through, have a model that simulates the game hundreds and thousands of times. Not sure the exact amount on that, but what happens is we're actually able to extract this advanced info, previewing matchups, but it also can take into account ballpark weather conditions, which is, we know in baseball is crucial. We know with the baseball too, changing every year, very important. So Ballpark Pal is going to be helping us out this year alongside, of course, Baseball Savant, the main thing for us last year. Good news is, though, right, we have both of them. We're going to put them together. We have that batted ball info that we're going to see with Baseball Savant, and then really with Ballpark Pal, we're going to be able to take probabilities and simulations into effect. So pretty powerful stuff. Really looking forward to it again this year. So let's get right into it. Again, matchups. We have a game at 12:10 already, Central. So a lot of the slates, the reason I'm recording here 11:17 Central is the night slate is going to be 6 o'clock main slate. So you got more than enough time here. And again, I'll keep this episode nice and quick as always. So I want to preview really those games because it's not going to be helpful talking about games that are already going to be going on. So we're going to go down to those late slate games. And there's a lot of them. I mean, there's 5 or 6 of them, maybe more. I'll start with the 3:10 games though. 3:10 Central games. So like Seattle and Cleveland, we'll talk about some of those other matchups more exclusively, but I'm going to really hit home these, starting on, of course, Baseball Savant. If you want to hear some numbers, Logan Gilbert in 68 career plate appearances has an batting average, so expected batting average of 245 against the current Cleveland Guardians roster. I can give you some of those matchups, though. So right away, we're looking at Josh Naylor. Josh Naylor, XBA of 459 and X slug of 821 in 10 plate appearances against Logan Gilbert. Very nice. Some other guys who we're looking at is Ahmed Rosario. Some good numbers for him. And again, his X Wallba's 335, X slug 425. Good exit velo numbers, 92.6. So pretty relevant sample size. Like for a matchup, we'll take it. We're also looking at, of course, some other matchups. We're looking at, right, how has Aaron Savali done against the current Seattle Mariners roster? 254 XBA. I'm really looking at, those specific guys. I'm looking at like guys like Ty France. Otherwise, not much success against a guy like Savali, so not going to suggest him yet as the starting pitcher. But we have White Sox at Pirates. Lucas Giolito actually has fantastic numbers against the current Pittsburgh Pirate roster. So Giolito could be a guy we consider. Rich Hill also has great numbers against the White Sox roster, but not sure how much we want to take that into account. Brad Keller, hard to evaluate him. 10 plate appearances only against that current Giants roster. We know pretty young roster. Alex Cobb, against the Royals, XBA 267, XWOBA 284. So decent. Not enough to really tell us what's going on. Same with Martinez and Schuster. I'll talk about more of these rookies using Ballpark Pal. I do want to talk about Brandon Woodruff. Brandon Woodruff has had phenomenal numbers against the current St. Louis Cardinal roster. Actually, 160 plate appearances relevant. Paul Goldschmidt, Wilson Contreras, both XBAs under 200, and XWOBAs are also not great as well. So, Tyler O'Neill's one guy who's had some success. That's really it of starters. Nolan Arenado's 3 for 18 for his career off of him. So, matchup wise, I mean, Woodruff's got to be the guy you want. More in a player prop sense, it depends on value where you're getting it. But really, in a DFS setting, Woodruff's my pitcher of choice. If I need to take another one with him. I'm looking at Patrick Sandoval's one too, with in this later slate. Right, Angels. He's got an XBA of 201 against the current Blue Jays roster. Otherwise, Bumgarner Kershaw are dueling tonight. That'll be interesting. That happened last week too, but the main pitching report is that. Let's go talk about some individual matchups more, right? And where we're looking with that. So again, I mentioned thank you to Baseball Savant. We're talking more Ballpark Pal. Looking at the matchups, matchups that seem preferable or preferred. Again, it's a Dodgers stack against the Dodgers offense has been phenomenal this year, but more specifically, right, that Dodgers stack against an offense or against Madison Bumgarner, and we're looking at guys like Miguel Vargas, for example. Will Smith has been on fire. Max Muncy, even. Guys like that are the ones we're looking at. We want to make some sort of stack, and I'll talk more about like lineup spot, more specifically projected lineup. We're looking like, and if Miguel Vargas isn't playing, but Miguel Vargas probably at the 7 spot, Muncy at 5, Will Smith at 3, 3, 5, and 7. Be totally fine doing that for a stack. Look, Bumgarner's not the same guy. His pitches, he hasn't changed anything from last year. It looked like in start number 1, didn't look great, really. And he could have a better night tonight, but I really like that stack with Muncy, Smith, and Vargas with the Dodgers, because we talked about stacking little different strategies here in baseball than what we do in other DFS settings. So I'm all for it, but that's a stack that comes to my mind right away. And also Jack Flaherty, he pitched well last time. 5 walks, 7 walks, 5 walks, an insane amount of walks. So it's monitoring that for the Brewers as well, a team that fares a lot better against right-handed pitching. I'm looking at Rowdy Tellez tonight, and it would be just a single guy for me. Go with the rookies too, but I'm looking at Tellez and Yelich. The top of the order needs to step up. I think both of them. And that's like a lot of their value comes from their increase in their walk probability tonight. So looking more fantasy score, they'd be fine. Get a couple of walks. Obviously, we'd want more than that, but that's kind of what I'm looking at mainly. Otherwise, right, top pitchers tonight, I suggest Brandon Woodruff. Other guys include, right, in some of these earlier games, Zach Wheeler, Hunter Green, both of those guys. But again, I'd still like Woodruff. Zach Eflin's another one. I like the sample size, like matchups have not been great for him, but Eflin with Tampa playing well. Hopefully they'll have him go. I'm more worried about how many innings he'll go. So that's where I'm monitoring. Starting pitchers. I think it's a good group of guys. I gotta go Woodruff. If you want to pair him with Eflin, go ahead. Mackenzie Gore's another one, although it's at Coors Field, still concerns me a little bit. But just monitoring that. Some more matchups. Are you ready? A lot of right. I mean, Jose Urena. It's again the Coors slate. Want to bring that up, but again, the game was 1-0 yesterday, and the odds of that happening in Coors Field are pretty slim. So keep that in mind. I don't think we'll see that today. But guys, I'm looking at Dominic Smith, right, coming over. He's projected probably at the 4 spot. Looking at Smith, I'm looking at Keibert Ruiz. Even guys at the bottom of the order, Luis Garcia, C.J. Abrams. I'll give you my favorites though. Dom Smith's number 1 at first base. I like that matchup for him. And then I think I'll take Luis Garcia at the 7 spot is number 2 for me. And then number 3 is actually a guy I haven't mentioned yet. Heimer Candelario, bad number 3rd spot. I think all 3 of those guys. I think there's going to be a lot of runs in that game. Even Mackenzie Gore, who pitched very well last time around. Still monitor. I mean, like Elias Diaz, Chris Bryant. It's just interesting, right? Game at Coors Field. Both teams also, like Nationals already 1-6 this year. Also want to shout out, right? What will I be drinking while watching baseball tonight? Point Diet root beer. You know it. Right? I mean, it's that wonderful vanilla taste. You know the drill. Going to a Brewer game tomorrow as well. So guess what I'll be bringing? Yeah, you got it. You know what I'm bringing. So bringing that root beer with me, a diet root beer, wonderful vanilla taste, all for 0 calories, 0 sugar. Again, check out Point Brewery. Their link is down below. Let's talk more about these matchups. I didn't even mention Mookie Betts yet with the Dodgers. I know I just talked about 2 teams. Let me give you some more individual, some guys who have had success. Again, Andrew McCutchen, even against Lucas Giolito, has had some good success. Matchup-wise, it's crazy with it being a Coors slate. Kind of throws a lot of it, more matchups in them up right now. We're looking at, of course, some bigger sample sizes. Marcus Semien against, again, I'll talk more specific matchups, even though those games might be a little bit earlier. Marcus Semien is a career 7 for 13 off of Marcus Stroman. Yeah, I mentioned Rowdy Tellez, only 4 plate appearances, but the walks is going to be a strong suit for him. Brandon Nimmo off Edward Cabrera in 10 plate appearances, batting .500 with 4 walks. Jack Flair or Jesse Winker. I didn't mention Jesse Winker yet. I think cross out Yelich when I said that. Take Winker. Winker career 6 for 15 is that against him, and 18 plate appearances, 3 walks, a home run, 2 home runs as well. Love that spot for Winker tonight. I'm not even trying to have Brewers bias, but Yelich is batting 310 off him with an OPS over 900. So I mean, pretty good sample size too. 33 plate appearances wouldn't be a terrible play, but again, a lot of this happened Yelich in 18 and 19. So gotta also know our years on that. I mean, those are like main matchups. I did throw a catch. I said Will Smith. So I'm just like going over, making sure I get those positions. I still think like those favorable matchups I've talked about here to stay. I know a lot of Coors is going to get thrown in here, but I anticipated like I was going to talk about a lot of Coors Field because of just how the slate is. We'll get some White Sox in there though too. Just looking at how their lineup is, right? A lot of young guys, but I'm looking at like Luis Robert, Jake Berger. Jake Berger has provided some nice value last year. Unfortunately, with some injuries for the White Sox with Eloy Jimenez, Jake Berger is actually going to get a pretty good spot tonight in the 5 spot. He's played well. I got another one for you. Romy Gonzalez, the 8 hitter for the White Sox. Pretty good matchup for him against Rich Hill, right? So just some more names out. I'll have my lineup out too shortly, a little bit later here. You can also ride the hot hand. I know we talked Brian Anderson. The Brewers has been hot, right? I mean, like guys like Adam Duvall have been scorching hot. Gleyber Torres has played well. And then also even you buying into what Joey Gallo's doing? Gallo's batting the 7th spot with Minnesota. Another guy, like I'll throw one more out. Trevor Larnach with Twins batting in the 3 spot has gotten actually pretty good valuable plate appearances with Buxton and Correa ahead of him. So I like his chances, right? I mean, sometimes with DFS, you're looking for any type of score, RBI opportunities, whether it's sac flies, ground out to RBIs, things like that. And Urquidy, decent starter, but kind of like the spot for him with the Twins today. So he's another name I'd recommend. Otherwise, that's mostly it. The Giants have been on fire, hitting home runs. So I do think Blake Sable in the 8 spot with them, pretty like I know at bats is concerning, but wouldn't be mad at that at all. So those are my suggestions today. Comment your favorite plays, of course, down below, and I'll be back, of course, here next week. And good luck. Have fun today. Enjoy the baseball, and Let's win today. Let's win DFS. So that's gonna wrap it up here for myself, Drew Skyberg. Again, all the links for everything is down below. Thank you all for listening to another episode of Drew Sports Crew, the perfect podcast for you.